Hello, this is Carl. I'm giving you an introduction today on Carl's Bible Power, and today we're going to be going over the search engine. Right now, I'm at the keyboard commands, and I just wanted to point out a couple of keyboard commands that are important to remember. First one is the less than. When you press that, anywhere in the Bible program, it will show these commands. So right now, I can press the less than and less than, and it popped them up right here. And you can see it's in the background too. To hide them, use a less than greater than sign. Now, when you're in certain dialogues, like the Bible reader, the search engine, the search reader, the management box, and the font box, you can get additional key commands that are specific to those locations by pressing the less than acute. The acute is all the way under the escape on the left top side. So I am not in them right now, but I am going to be using less than S to go to the search engine. And these are capital letters too. And I'm going to click Start Over. Now, in the search engine, we have different search types. That would be this one here. It's right now I have it set as the default for standard. But we have a standard near, standard within, numerical, numerical standard, numerical near, trim, Strong's numbers old and Strong's numbers new. That would be the Old Testament and the New Testament. Standard is what you'd generally be using for any type of search in the Bible. The first set of verses, the text boxes here are and verses. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So each of these text boxes are and verses, which means when I put something in here, and then I put something in here, and I put something in here, and I put something in here, I don't have to use them all. I can just use one, which is normal. Normally I would just use one, but sometimes you want to use more than one because you don't remember the order of the words, or maybe you're searching for, well, something that you think that the sentence goes like a certain way, but you might be wrong, but you're pretty sure these two words are in the verse. So then you would put one word here and one word in the next one. So you can do an extra filter. What it's going to do, it's going to look for this one first. Well, actually, it's going to look for your references first, because here you can put in a reference. So if you wanted a reference of, say, maybe the book of Genesis, so you could just put in Genesis here, or these are Bible block checkboxes. When I click on this, I can toggle them to on and off. And here, when I roll the mouse over here I see Genesis. These are quick clicks. So if I wanted to, I could just click on that. Maybe it's in Genesis and Exodus, I could click on Exodus. These are regular expressions. This caret sign means the beginning of a string. This pipe means or, and the beginning of the string Exodus. Now the reason I put the beginning of the string here is because there's sometimes you would look for like 1 John, 2 John, and there's a 3 John, so it would just pick them all up because they're Roman numerals. So let me restart this, or reset this. This next set of verses is called the not verses. So if I was to put something in here, and I get a whole string of things, and I see there's something, maybe a phrase or something, and I said, you know what, I don't want to include that. I can put that phrase in here, so then it would eliminate all those that have that phrase. Let me just do one real simple here with the word love. And I am going to do this for the book of Leviticus. Just to show you, this is the standard search. Now, before I go further with that, I'm going to push this less than and acute to show my extra searches. And these here at the bottom here use the Alt key with different numbers or letters, and it'll take you or do things like this. Alt equals performs the search. So if I press Alt equals, it's the same as clicking the search button. So I'm just going to click the search button since I've got my mouse right there. And we were looking for love in Leviticus, and we found cloven-footed. Does that sound like love to you? No. Now I don't want all those cloven-footeds in there. So I can go back to my search box and I can type in not clove. And when I push Alt equals, do my search, now I just have the ones with love. Now there is another way to do this. Clear this one out. It's using regular expressions, and the \B means that's the word boundary. It starts with love. So I can click on, do the Alt equals thing, and I still get my same two results because cloven doesn't begin with love. It's not a word boundary. A word boundary wouldn't be cloven because the word begins with a C and not an L. So let me start over. And that was actually an example of a standard search where I searched for the reference, and then I searched for text box 1, then text box 2, then text box 3, and text box 4. These text boxes are all numbered, and you'll notice there's this I drop down or nothing. When you have I, that stands for ignore case. And each one has one. So you could put an ignore case here and match this case. They don't have to all be the same. And the same is also true with the references. So I could put in Leviticus with an LEV, and it'll find, that's actually going to find every verse that's Leviticus. 859 verses in Leviticus. Now, let me push the less than and acute in here. And you can see this here is how I'm using the keys that I'm using to go through the Bible or the search results. The Bible reader is the same way, has the same keys, does the same thing. Plus 20, minus 20, minus 5 is this key, and minus 1 is that key. To make it makes it rather easy. Then down here's the one where you use the Alt. And then here's some other things to open your notes and show context, all verses. Different kind of things like that. So now let me go back to this search box because that's what we're working on. And I just showed you briefly how the standard search works. Now let's go to the standard near. Standard near works similar, but it's not exactly the same. If you see up top here, it uses text boxes 1, 2, 3, 4, and 0. Now, text box 1, if you hold down the Alt key and press 1, that's text box 1. Text box 2 is Alt and 2. Text box 3 is Alt 3, Alt 4, and this one is Alt 0, your notes. So to do the standard near, we also need text box 7. We need to put an integer in there. And what that integer is, it's a number from 1 to 99. And it'll tell the Bible Power program, hey, when you see any of these things that are within this range of verses, but they all have to be in it. So let me just do one here. I'm going to go David. I'm going to go Jonathan and Saul. We're going to make this a near verse of 5 verses. While I'm here, I want to point out one more thing. This down here, if I have this set on standard, and I come over here and I type in a number, as soon as I leave, it'll change this back to a near, standard near. And it'll do that on all of these, except for the numeric near, the old Strongs, and the new Strongs. So if I had it set on trim results, it'll change it to a near automatically, standard near. It won't change it to the numeric near. But if I have it on numeric near already, it doesn't change. If I have it on the Strong's number, it doesn't change. And if I have it on Strong's New Testament old number or new Strong's number, it doesn't change. And since I have all these checked, I'm going to be looking through the whole Bible. When you can use these during searches too. I mean, if I just wanted to look through the first 5 books, I can just do that one. If I want to go through the next 10 books, I can put that one, and so forth, all the way down to the end. So let me perform this search. And we have 99 different verses. And when we look through these verses, we see there's David and Saul, but there's no Jonathan. And this is the verse number here, 74, 7674. So we should see a Jonathan by the time we get to like 79. Well, 78, there's Jonathan. So Saul, David, and Jonathan are in all these verses within 5. So it picked them all up. Now we can go another 5 verses. There's Saul. There's David and Jonathan. So we got them there at 80. And that one was actually 79. So 79 plus 5 would be 84. Okay, we got another Saul here. So the last time Jonathan was in it was at 81. So we go another 5, which would be 86. David, Saul. So it couldn't find another one at 86. So it just left all this group here together as one. And it jumped to 85. Oh, wait a second. It jumped to 704, where we have David and Saul. So we got 704 plus 5 is 709. And hopefully we'll find there's a Jonathan. So you see how it's putting all these verses where they're within 5 near each other. And since I'm right here doing this right now, you can tell that it's skipping verses because it goes from 1 Samuel. Well, let me go all the way back to the beginning. It's going from 1 Samuel 17:55, then it skips 56, goes to 57. Then it's jumping to 18:1. And then we have a big jump there. And I can't actually tell if that's a jump offhand. But there was a jump. Now, suppose we wanted to get all this and have the context of it. We can come up here. We have a sequential, which is, you can kind of think of this as like a range. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to set my first one in the range or sequential. to 1 Samuel 17:55. And then this is 99. So I'm going to copy that, paste that into the jump to box. Somehow the one didn't disappear. And click go. That puts me to my last one. And on this one is 2 Samuel 22:1. Click on this. Now I have 931 verses. It starts at my first verse. I don't know why it does that. 931 comes to my last one, 2 Samuel 2. So I got that whole group of Bible verses in there for one search. That's actually what it did. This makes the search. It loaded up the search engine, and it should be reset right now. So everything I had in there before, it's set back to standard because that's my default. So it's on start over. So that was the near search. And what I just did was actually the numeric search. That's when I got my beginning verse. So if I wanted Genesis 11:28 to, actually, let's just say, copy that. Genesis 14:1. And I'm on a numeric search. And that doesn't look like Genesis because it's there, but it's all there. So I got from Genesis 11:28, go up here 44, Genesis 14:1. So that gives me a range, just like the last thing did, by using the sequential. In the Bible Reader, there's also sequential 1, and then when you click it, it'll say sequential 2. You select your 2 verses in the Bible Reader to do that. Now back to the search dialog. I'm going to restart that, reset it. And we had a standard near, then here's a standard within. This doesn't look for all the Bible verses. It's not using these Bible check boxes. What it's using is your current search results. So you're searching inside your search results. It's the same thing as the standard, but you're only using your search results. So like if you put in maybe one of these text boxes and you put in lured and you did your search. Oh, you know what? I know why. I was within something. I'm doing this one instead of the standard search. That's why it wasn't many. I have 6,781 verses that says Lord. Now, maybe I don't want to have just Lord anymore, because that's a lot of verses to read. So it says, you know what? I think I want it where it says created also. So now, instead of doing a whole new search, I can go to, not numeric, standard within, and type created, and do my search. Now these all say lured and created, but lured's no longer highlighted or no longer red text. So in that case, you may just want to do another search to start with. And now it's red. Okay, let's go back to look at the next one. Well, numeric we already did. Numeric standard. What a numeric standard is, it's a combination of numeric and a standard. So what it's going to do, you can put your start verse in here. So if it's like Genesis, and if you're starting at Genesis 1:1, you don't need to put anything more than JEN. And how many verses do I want to look through? Now let me just look through 100 verses. And Lord and created, that sounds good for a numeric standard. And it's going to look for created and Lord in the first 100 verses of the Bible. Only found it once. So let's go back, and we're going to do this time. We'll delete this, and we're going to put this back on standard and do the search. Now we're going to go one verse ahead, and we can see this is verse 145 when it shows up. So it was right. It's not any more than one time in the first 100 verses. Now let's go back and we'll look at the next set of verses, the numeric near. This is the same as the numeric standard, but this one does the near numeric. It gets a range of verses, and then it'll do the near search, and you'll need to fill this in too. Trim results. Trim results is actually a whole lot easier to do in the search reader than it is to do here. The trim results works with your search results. So let me go see what search results I have. I started Genesis 2:4. So if I typed in 6:7, it's going to find that one first, and then 41:20. So let me try that. Let's go back to here. Let's start over. Going to put in 6:7. So it finds my first verse was 6:7. And what did I say my last one was? I do not remember. 41:20. So that'll find that one. And then Alt-T puts my focus there, and we were on 7 for trimming. So we started at Genesis 6:7, and we ended at Isaiah 41:20. That's what we put in there. Now, if we go back to the search engine, it changed it because it found numbers. It was our second and 4 after that. Another way to do this, let me go on to recent. Created in Lord. That's a standard numeric. This is standard. Okay, let's do this search. Another way to do this, Genesis 6:7. We're going to select trim and click 1. Then we're going to go to the next one, 41:20, and click 2. So we start here at Genesis 6:7 and end at 41:2. So it's a lot easier to do that trim from the search reader than it is from the search dialog. Okay, we start over. And now we're working with Strong's numbers. Now, this is only searching the Old Testament. The Old Testament is written in Hebrew. The New Testament's written in Greek. They use different numbers. And some of the numbers in the Greek and some of the numbers are in Hebrew, but they're not the same definitions for those numbers. Somebody took a lot of time years ago before they had computers, and they set out and put this big book together, looking at all the Strong's words and comparing them how they get translated into English, and made up a list of Strong's numbers, which correlates with a Strong's definition. Now let's say we want to find out what to do with these Strong's numbers. This is telling me I have to use text box 7 and type in a Strong's number. I'll type 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm pretty sure there's a Old Testament Strong's number. 1, 2, 3, 4. Click search. Now, when you're looking for a Strong's number, it highlights the word, and there you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I can double click on this because it's not red text. And here it's showing me this is the Strong's Hebrew number, and this is its definition. And they translated it into broken. If you want to look up some definitions on the internet, you can just click on some of these links. I have a whole bunch of different links. It'll give you different definitions. Down here, I think I went over this in the introductory. Gives you different statistics. Here you have a graph. Each set of green and blue represents each a different book of the Bible. So here we have Psalms. The green is the word occurrences. That's how many times each word is mentioned in Psalms. And this says 22. But the blue line's a little shorter. It's only 21. And that means that one verse in Psalms, it's mentioned twice in. Over here, we say that it's mentioned 3 times in a verse. So this shows you the most times that that word is actually mentioned. And then when you roll your mouse over these things, you can actually see the verse appearing up here. So you know which one it is. This is the first time it occurs. That's the center of the Bible where it occurs in the center. Well, not the Bible, the search results. So if they were all in Genesis, it would pick the center one of the Genesis results. And then this one here's the last time it occurs in the Bible. If I were to click on like Isaiah 8:9, it takes me to the Bible reader and throws that verse right in here for me. Go back to the reader. Now this one's, the next verse is Cleave. It uses the same number with the same definition, but they translated it differently here. So you see here's the same number, same definition, but they typed it here. They did it to this word. You can also type your own definition in here if you wanted to have a couple extra notes on it. This is going to appear for everywhere that the word clave is used, not just this one time. So we go to the next one. So I'll just push this +1 button. Divide. So it also gets translated divide, divided, clave, 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 break, break. That's funny about the King James, how they break through. That would be like breaking a car, right? A break on a car spelled that way. With King James Bible, it's almost like it's interchangeable. Broken, break, and you can see all the different places that it's used that way. Now, let's go back to the next one is the New Testament. As far as the Strong's numbers goes, right now there's not a whole lot of Strong's numbers in there. That's a long, tedious job to put the Strong's numbers into this program. And I am actually working on the Old Testament. So the words that I have done would be words that start with A, B, C, and I either did E or I'm working on E. So I actually don't think we're going to be finding any New Testament ones. So let's just find out just to see. And it says I can use characters like and that left me on Strong. So I'll do my search. Nothing. Okay, let me put it in the Old Testament. Okay, so apparently I don't have any done in the New Testament. But in this verse in particularly, that was a regular expression I typed in there, and it's actually going to show me every Strong's number that I did. So you can see like here, light is not done because it starts with an L. There may be some that are done that don't start with A, B, C, or D. But this is how you would highlight them. And you normally wouldn't use regular expressions like I did. You would normally just use a specific number so you can find where other words are with the same Strong's number. So right now, just use the Old Testament. And there's one more thing I wanted to show you. When you see anything that's underlined like this usually does something. Like these here, I showed you how it takes you right to the Bible verse in the Bible reader. And clicking on these will also do something. It put that word right in here, so you will be finding that word. When you click on like a Strong's number, you want to see 7122. You just click on it, it'll load it right up. Change this to the Strong's number and set your focus on the search button so you can search and you can find other words. There's 13 words or 13 verses that use that number. So that's something else you can do when you want to be searching for Strong's numbers. There could come a time when you're doing a search that you'll want to ignore the punctuation. So let's start over and let's find a verse. I'll go to the Bible reader. Okay, I'm in the Bible reader and here is an example. People, comma, and. So I'm going to copy that and go back to search and paste it into there. Now, not every verse would have a comma. Some of them may have a colon or a semicolon or maybe even no comma at all. But I want to see, because I know there's something that says people and I want to find that verse. And I don't want to just have to guess, well, is it a comma? Is it a no comma? Is it a semicolon or colon? So I can just click this and it'll change it. It gets rid of the comma and it puts in this regular expression, which would allow any character that's not a letter. So it would even let in like an apostrophe or a colon or semicolon or a comma or a space. And this plus sign means at least one, but it could be even more. 2, 3, because sometimes you might have a semicolon and a parenthesis. So let's search and see what we get. So here we have people with a semicolon, and there's another semicolon. Here's people with a comma. There's people with a colon, and a comma, and a comma, and a comma, comma, and a semicolon, and a comma. And look, there it is. No punctuation at all, just a space. So you can see that can come in handy to ignore your punctuations from time to time. This next checkbox here is append to new results. If I had done one search and then I went to come back and do another search, but I didn't want to lose my first search results and I wanted to add more to it, I could append by clicking this. So if I had 10 verses the first time, you know what? Let's do a search. I'm going to do a numerical search. Let me reset. Set this to numeric and make this. I'm going to go 1 to 10. So that'll give me the first 10 books of the Bible, and I do my search. Here we have 1 to 10, and it's the first 10 books of the Bible. I go back and I do my search again. This time I am going to append them. So now I have 20. So I go forward 10, and you can see I have back to number 1 again. and I have, so if I go through them one at a time, you can see it goes 1 to 10, then it starts back 1 to 10 because it appended it. And it doesn't have to be the same thing. I could do a different search altogether. Like let me just do David and Jonathan and Saul. So now you notice these numeric searches are not red text. I go up 20 to my 21st verse, and we have red text mixed in with the ones that aren't red text. Now, when you're looking at a word like this, something like this, and I double click on this, nothing happens, except it just selects it so I can copy and paste it. But this one here doesn't have the red text. So if I double click on a word here, it will open up the Strong's, the word statistics with the Strong's numbers in it. And you can see this one shows 2. This one here has a blue background, and this one has a yellow background. And what that means is that this one here includes this number. So it looked up this number and put it down here. So you don't actually have to look them up. This does it automatically for you. And the same things all apply down here. Let's take a look at the word the. This one fascinated me. Right here we have the. See, this is actually showing you the different cases. All capitalized, these are where it appears when it's all capitalized. This is all the lowercase, and this is all title case. And then it has it all pulled out over here for you in different things. But this verse here, the word the, appears 18 times. No other word in the Bible appears 18 times in the Bible. Only the word the. Okay, let's go back to the search. And this is your about dialog. When you're doing a search, there's one setting in here under the about when you click about, and sometimes the search can take a while. Like if you have a really complex regular expression. So you may want to put a time limit here. Let's say maybe like 20 seconds. And what will happen is at 20 seconds, it's going to prompt you. Hey, we got this far in the search. Do you want me to continue to search for this? And if you say yes, it'll go for another 20 seconds. And it'll continue that until it's finished searching. Or you could say, no, cancel that search. I'll just see what you got right now. And it'll do it that way. So you can set that to any one of these things that you would like it to be set to. I normally keep it around 30 seconds, but I mean 20 is good. If you set it like too short, you may end up finding it prompting you too many times. So, the smallest one is 5 seconds, and you've seen me searching, and it definitely wasn't even taking 5 seconds for these searches. But these aren't really complex searches like the ones with regular expressions are. This is the help checkbox. When you uncheck this, well, this is working differently. This is off of something else, but nothing else appears. These here are different tools. This is your regular expression help. If you want to learn more about regular expressions, you can look at some of these websites I have here. They should be able to help you. This is your quick reference. It goes over what all these different things can do. I'm going to go more into regular expressions on my next one, so I'm not really going to go through this right now. This can take a little while. This is an acronym tool, and this actually I put Valentine in here because I had seen this one on the internet, and the word Valentine is right in the middle of John 3:16. You can see it uses all those letters. I thought that was really interesting, but I made a few different acronyms here. This one's using the first letter, uses every word in the verse. And this Exodus 6:10, this actually appears pretty many times. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, that phrase appears pretty many times in the Bible. First letter match. So it's not every word that it's using, as you can see. But this is Savior, and straightway one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him to drink. So this is one acronym that uses the first word, first letter match. Any letter complete match. So it's going to use every word in the Bible. Let brotherly love continue, and the word love is in that. And then this is the any letter, any match. So it'll just pull out the words. This one takes a long time to run. So if I wanted to get the acronym, I would just click the Get Acronym button. It throws in my regular expression. It resets my box, so it's all ready to go. And I can click this. And here we have it. There's 43 times Valentine appears in verses in the book of John. And this here, with this verse here, this is not necessarily the letters that you need to use, because you can see there's another E over here. So you could actually move this E over to here. And in some cases, you would be able to pull maybe like this N to somewhere over in here if there was another N, and just move a few of them down and around. In John 3:16, it's see Valentine is V-A, but you could use this A under gabe, because gabe is a much more powerful word than that. So you might want to just pay attention to the way it's putting them in here. So you could begotten is one, but this N here, you probably would want to put it over on son. And then we have a T here, that whosoever believeth. So believeth is a good word to have. And then I could be here. And N, well, that's going to have to be the end. So I guess you would have to use that T. But anyway, that's how you can do these with this tool. Let me come back here. We'll go to a different tool. Look up a phrase maker tool. Okay, the phrase maker, this is a tool that will, this is a sample verse here, I believe. You can put in a verse that's in the Bible, or you can type in your own words. It doesn't really matter, a sentence. You want to see, is this anywhere in the Bible in phrases? So what it's going to do, this is set right now for 5 words. So it's going to look here. It's going to get rid of the numbers. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So these 5 words is one phrase. And it's going to ignore punctuation in between here. The next 5-word phrase would be this one. So it's going to look for that phrase. And then the next one until it gets the whole thing done. It's going to assemble for you the regular expression that needs to look up all the phrases that are in here. Now, there are some common phrases, and this one here sorts them out. It'll ignore common phrases for you. And up there, it tells you in the Bible, oops, I gotta leave this here. In the Bible, there are 665,273 5-word phrases. 4,109 41,900 will be accepted, and the other ones are common. It's 539,623 are going to be rejected if this is, because they're a very common phrase. And this is a table for the 5 words. It tells you all the different things. And we can select, maybe we don't want 5 phrases, maybe we want 2. And you can see the table has changed. And it tells you how many are going to be accepted, how many are going to be rejected. And it keeps going on with all the different phrases. And we go up to 8-word phrases here. And then all I would do is just, after I select what I want, I would click on Get Phrase. And it puts it in here, it resets my dialog to the standard search. And then I'm focused on search already. So all I need to really do is just hit the space bar or enter. And here, for I will bring evil. And we see we have 8 different verses where I will bring evil upon them. For I will bring evil, even the year of their visitation. So this one actually has 2 different phrases that's matched on this one. This one has 3. So this one with 3, this is probably the actual verse, and these 5-word phrases, slippery ways in the darkness, was probably a rejected one, and so forth. There's a lot of rejected ones there. So let me go back to search. Look up a word. Okay, we can reset the start search engine from here instead of pushing the start over button. And we can look up a word. So this would be helpful if you don't know how to spell a word, like, or a word could appear 2 different ways in the Bible. So Nebuchadnezzar is one of those words that people just have a hard time with, but we know it begins with an N. So I'm going to put an N, E-B, because that's what it begins with. And then I don't know if it's a U or an I, maybe it's an A. So I'm going to do a dot star, which is a regular expression. The dot means it's any character, and the star means 0 or more of whatever any character, because that's before the star. So then I know there's a Z in it. And then I don't know if it's an AR, UR. And then we're going to do an R because it ends in an R. And I'm going to change this to match case because I know Nebuchadnezzar begins with a capital N. Find the word. Gives me this drop down. And look, here we have it. This is Dresser, and this is Nezer. So all I need to do is, for phrases, that would be like if I wanted to put it into a text box and there's something already there, I can put this in there. It'll add a space into it. So it would be just like a sentence. And this one here uses the pipe. The pipe, remember I told you that means or. So I want to put this one in with the pipe. And then I want to select the next one. Make sure for sure that one goes in with the pipe. And then when I click search, here I can see in the days of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, this is Nezer, not the other way it's spelled. And that's Nezer, that's Nezer, 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 Nezer. These all have, here's the Dresser. Nebuchadnezzar, Dresser. This is in the book of Jeremiah. See, when it changed to Jeremiah, it was spelled a little bit differently. Except for this time. This time it was spelled Nezer. Now, if I just want to see, for example, how many times Drezer is actually in the Bible, it shows me 31 times. So we're in Jeremiah and Ezekiel. I could also, since I'm on Drezer, I could also click the word stats, and it shows me here the 2 different books of the Bible that it's in. And also, I have a first and a last, which I could look up. It tells me in the Old Testament it's 31, the whole Bible's 31, and this is for word occurrences, and this is verse occurrences. In the whole Bible, there's 31. Okay. This tool is your general quick clicks. Down inside here, there's a few other tools, but we're going to go over the general quick clicks. Now, normally when your help box is checked and you come down here to click this, it'll uncheck your checkbox. Then you can roll your mouse over all this stuff and come up here and see what you're doing. So let's say if I wanted to look for the Old Testament, I would just click on this one. If I wanted to do something in the first 5 books, I could click on that one. And you can see down here, it's moving the checkboxes, it's unchecking the checkboxes. The first one is just for the first 5. Then the Old Testament narrative. And that puts all the books of the Bible in here for the Old Testament narrative and does your checkboxes like this. Psalms and Proverbs. Wisdom literature. And so forth. You got your New Testament 4 Gospels. You have your New Testament narrative. And this one here, scenario examples or advanced examples or scenarios. All that's going to do is just give you a little story about these in the next tool. And what scenario examples are is just a bunch of little tiny stories like, here's a large print one. You're going to a nursing home to speak on John chapters 1 to 3. You would like the residents to follow along, but feel that a larger print would do them good. So what you would do is you would click on this quick click. It sets up the search dialog, so it will look for John. This caret means it's the first character in the string is a capital J. So it's looking for things that start with John, followed by a space, and the square brackets indicate that there's a range in here, or a specific. It's either a range or some specific characters that are typed in. So this is a range 1 to 3. So it's going to find anything that's 1, 2, or 3, because that's the range. Then it's followed by a colon. So it's not going to pick up 10, 11, 12, 13, 30, and that kind of thing. So then you would just click search and it will pick out John's 1, 2, and 3. And then you would just go to the font box and select whichever layout you want to print and choose the font size that you think would be easy for them to read and print it out for them. There are other different stories in here. You can go through these as you would like. Summary is an interesting one because it lets you summarize the Bible. It says you want to make a summary of the Bible. You think if you take the first 2 verses from every chapter, you will get some sort of a feel for the direction the Bible is heading. After you make a search, you will go to the search reader to make the red text verse numbers black click where the reader tells you the verse number. That's something we can go over too. So let's just do this one and follow this one through. Click the font box and choose the selected list and the page layout and the font size, and the page will print at the top of the screen. If you are happy with that, the way it looks, save this print screen. Click Save the Print Screen. So here we're saying all the verses that begin with a 1 or a 2, and you can't actually see it, but there's a space there. So that's only going to be one, begins with a 1 or a 2, and it's followed by a space. And all the check boxes are checked, and we're doing a standard search. So we just condensed the whole Bible from 31,102 verses down to 2,378 verses just by skipping a bunch. But this is the first and second, and you can see that all the first and second numbers are red. Now, if I don't want the numbers to be red, to save some of my red toner, but just have to click it. And it's asking me, do I want to make them word clickable? So because right now, since the red text is in there, I can't double click on that. But as soon as I make them take away the red text, now they're clickable. And I can do that. So then I would go to the font box, and I'm going to select the page layout. This is the normal page layout. And a nice size. 18 is a good size. That's pretty big actually for printing. So maybe even 15. And well, you know what? Let me make it 16. And this, since I'm printing it, maybe I want to change this to maybe there's a Bookman here. I like the Bookman. It's pretty nice letters. So click. Do I want my notes in it? You know what? I'm going to skip the notes. And I'll click do it. Now it just printed this whole thing out. And what I can do, I can save this print screen. And I can put a date on it. Or well, it comes with a date. I'll just type in Bible summary verses 1 to 2. Because I could actually have put a range 1 to 5 and get the first 5 verses of every chapter, but this is what we did here. I'm the author, and now it saved this in the text file here, so I can copy this, and it's telling me how to save it over here in this dialog. So I am going to open up Notepad, and I'll paste it in there. And I'll come down here. This gives me just a title, so I can save it, but you can change this title. Remember I called it Bible Summary verses 1 to 2. So let me just copy this, Control S to save it. And then to make it easy, I'm going to save it in the root directory, Carl's Bible Power. That's where this is. So now, when I want to view that, I'll just go to the Carl's Bible Power root directory, General Save, and I open it. There it is. And it took the buttons away, so I can't click on them. They're not really away, but they've changed. And here is the Bible, verses 1 and 2 of every chapter. And this is a separate from Carl's Bible Power, because this is a new page. It doesn't even need Carl's Bible Power to work. It's because it's been saved already. Let me go all the way down to Revelations. Now you'll notice that these verses all seem pretty long, but this is going to change when you do go to print. So I'm going to press Control P to do a print preview. Okay, this is what it looks like. You can see how the words are wrapped around, and you can view that it's pretty big print for a page. So maybe I would want to make it smaller because this here is like a lot of pages. 317 pages to print. I mean, it's nice, which I actually don't have to print the first page, so it's 316 pages. It's nice though if you like big print. So I'm just going to cancel this. And I could adjust the margins too, so I could give a little room on the right or the left side to write some footnotes in there if I needed to. Okay, let's go back to the search box. And I think that'll sum it up for this. I don't think I need to go over anymore, but I mean, when you have time and you would like to, you can go over them. And thanks for watching this video. Our next one, we will be going over the red text matches because some of that can be confusing, especially when you start using parentheses. And we'll go over regular expressions. Thank you very much.